how it will come to know that this app root is calling this HTML page? Okay, the answer is this is the TypeScript file. Okay,
Yeah.
so what it does when we call an uproot tag or uproot selector in our HTML page, what it does, it checks firstly with the TS file. That TS file is nothing but a TypeScript file, and it is similar as JavaScript file. Okay, there is nothing difference in TypeScript and JavaScript. Only a few or small changes, syntax changes are there in JavaScript and TypeScript. Okay, so this is the component we are declared in this particular TypeScript file. Okay, and this component is covered under this package, import package. So Angular core is we have this component module. Okay, so what we do is we declare this in component, we declare this selector, and we give this name as a app-root name. And what its selector does is when when I put this selector into any other page, not in this particular index.html page, if I can generate any other component, and if I call that particular page on that particular selector, it will check with this template URL which URL it is calling. It is check this particular thing. Okay, so now when this index.html, when it checks with this selector app.root, it check with this, it find app.root in this app.component file, and what it redirects to, it redirects to this app.component.html page. Okay, and which is this one. This is the app.html page. So it will render this particular HTML page, right? And what are the style sheets are present in this particular, it will apply these style sheets or whatever this format over here. Okay, so now what I will do is I'll remove all this code. Okay, I'll say Control A, Control X. Okay, I'll put it somewhere in Notepad. Okay, so it will be safe right now. So now I'll write any heading. Okay, H1. This is my first app. Done. Okay, fine. Now we were in terminal. Okay, so we fire this ngsoft command. Okay, it will compile code again because earlier I closed the terminal, so I have to create, I have opened another terminal, so I have to fire this ngsoft again. So when after running this command, we'll see the output, what exactly it shows. Okay, so you are clear with this particular thing, or you are confused, or do you have any queries and doubts?
No, I'm fine with it.
You are fine with it, right? Okay. Okay, so the port is already in use. So okay, I'm to see this is the changes I have done. Okay, so are you able to see this change?
Yes.
Okay, so and what is the change that I have created this change? Okay, so if I say this is my second app, I'll say Control S. Say this, right?
Okay.
It is accepting the changes, correct? So
Yes.
now, the question arises with the security part. If you know run any application like Google also, when you inspect the element, we'll able to see what is happening in background or which file it is calling. Okay.
Okay.
For example, if I say google.com, okay, so we also concerned about the security of the application. As you are a developer, so you are concerned about the security. Okay, so when I click on the view page source, okay, so what it will show, we'll check. See, it will show all this file, okay, all this whatever code or JavaScript file. You are familiar with JavaScript, so you must be aware of this file, or you at least understand what is it is written. Okay,
Okay.
likewise, this is the code. So it is showing this URL for Hindi, Marathi, different languages, right? So we can easily copy and paste this code. Are you agree with me?
Yes.
Fine. So now this is the major part. Even Google is also not that much secure. Okay, right? So even anybody understand this code and logic, he can copy and paste the code, and he can create another Google, right? But it
Yes.
is not possible actually. So no one can create another Google. Okay. So now when I run the application, or if I host on a cloud, okay, and if anyone like me, a developer who is expertise in doing such kind of crazy things, so he can see and view the page source. So what it will do, it will just see this only,
Yes.
right? So you'll
Yes.
able to, do you understand what is exactly happening, what is runtime.js, what is polyfills.js files, right? It will say, okay, this much code, this code is fine there, right?
Yes.
So you'll not able to see. Even if I copy and paste the same code in this particular app.component file, okay, I'll remove this and again I'll paste the same code and save it. And again I run this file. See, again I say open page source. So it will give you the same thing, right? It will not it is not showing any button or any this thing, whatever it is present over there, this button, anything, it is not showing this components over here, right? So this is the
Mm.
beauty of the Angular, that these are the HTML components are also safe,
Okay.
right? No one can copy this HTML code. If you do view page source code, it will show only this part only. That's it. So whatever you are doing, your code is very much safe. No
Okay.
one can, uh, you know, uh, uh, you know, can try to copy your data. So it is very much safe as per this one. Okay. So you are clear to this thing.
Yes.
Okay. So are you okay with this thing, or you got bored, or you are not feeling like, oh, it is too much lengthy or something like that? Are you feeling like this?
No, no, no.
Okay, great, fine. So now what? So we'll move to the another components. So we have less time. So we have session till 9 to 10, right?
Okay. Yes.
1 hour session we have, right? No?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, fine. So we have 10 minutes left, but still I'll cover most of the part. Okay, for today, because today we cannot try even immediately jump onto the next part. Create a form and connect with the APIs. These are the too much things. So you have to have some absorb this thing. You have to try this thing with yourself, because if you will not try, and you will got confused. Okay, what I have done first, or after later what I did. So you'll got confused in this particular thing, though you have recordings, but if you try to memorize these things, you'll got confused if I go little bit forward. So I'll just explain you only the things, basic things today, only as
Okay.
an introduction part. So now you understood this component file, this component.css file. CSS is style sheet file. So
Yes.
there is nothing over there here. So
Okay.
if you want to apply any specific style to any of your component, like for button or any slider, you want to fix some height width, you can put that in CSS file. It is same like style sheet file. Now this is the TS file. So this is like your background code. So whatever you are writing or any events, or you want to write any function or method, you can write this particular in export class. Okay, this is the class. So here you can, if you want to call any function on that particular click event, or you want to redirect or something, do some calculation, you can write that particular function and method in this particular TypeScript file. Okay, so you can do that. Now we'll go to this app.modules file. Okay, so this is the main part. Okay, so when we go to this index.html page, when it renders that index.html page, so it will go to this app component file, right? But how we come to know that app component file is present? Okay, we haven't declared anywhere in this app component file. Are you agree with me?
Yes.
Right. So we have to declare this component. Okay, because without declaration we cannot do anything, right?
Yes.
Same like here also we have to declare this component app.component, and even if you create any other component, it is already, it is by default declared in this particular declaration in app.module file. Okay, so whatever modules you are including in this particular Angular application, you have to have declared this that particular component in this app.module file, so that it will identify that particular module and that particular selector. Otherwise it will give you an error that this component is not declared. Okay,
Okay.
likewise when we declare a variable, so when you write a variable, so if you don't declare that particular variable and you immediately run the code, it will give you error that this variable is not declared, right? If you directly use the variable, same like the component, if you haven't declared it, it immediately give you error, because it will not find the relative components or relative selectors for that particular component. Okay, so firstly you have to declare this component, and you have to import it as well, because when you declare it, it automatically uh, put the import statement in this particular module file. Okay, so it will import the particular components path. Okay, which path and all the say files, html css file, it automatically imports by default. Okay,
Okay.
then we have this providers. So what in the providers provide, what does provider mean? Provider means we have to write some services. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, that Angular acts as a bridge between the API and database. Okay, so with the help of Angular we call APIs, and then API hit to the database, then we get the response, then API we render it into our Angular application, right? So how we can connect with that particular APIs? There are two ways. Okay, one way is you can directly call that particular API in this particular components TypeScript file in background. Okay, on particular event you can declare a variable as your API URL, and you can call directly. Another method is you can write some services, the service.typescript file. Okay, and you can put the various methods, like for getting a method, for getting data, or for posting your data, or for updating data or deleting data, right? So in that particular you can write many of methods or functions in one service file. Okay, so these are you have to declare that particular service providers or services in this providers file. so that it will access that services when you call a particular component, or it will check that this component is services already declared. Fine. So it is little bit confusing for you right now. So I'll just tell you the only this thing, briefing this thing. Okay. So this is the basic app component file. So now we will go to this asset folder. So what an asset folder works as. So some we have to put some images or some icons when we develop an application, right? We need to have some images, or we need to show some images. So where we store that particular images, or where we can access that images in from which folder. So what you have to do is you can access that particular images from this assets folder, because Angular accepts all this kind of stuff, images and files and all those stuff which we are can able to show. So it access from this particular assets folder. Okay. Then this is the environment details. So this is the very much later part. So if we are doing some production or development environment, we do have two different environments. So we have to declare something. So that will be covered later. Okay, it is not necessary right now. Okay, these are some TypeScript file. So which when we render that particular file, it's some there are some JS files for it render the file by default. Angular render particular file, it renders this main.ts and polyfill.ts file. It is nothing but a JavaScript files only. Okay, so the code is very much lengthy, so it will take too much time to understand the codes. Okay, and now these are the files which we have installed. Now this is the package.json file. Okay, so in this package or this JSON file, whatever packages you have installed or whatever scripts or like commands. For example, for start, we are running this ngserve command. Okay, so if you want to change this command, you can just change over here ngstart. You can change,
Okay.
and you have to write ngstart over here. Likewise, you can change the command as well. Okay, but generally we don't do that. Okay, then any other the dependencies, which dependencies we have for this particular component or this particular application. So we have this Angular animation, the version, Angular forms, then Ajax file. So these are the dependency we have. When we declare some components, we have to import this kind of in these dependencies. So you'll come to know later onwards when we start work at the application. And when we are developing some application, you don't know exactly it. Okay. Then this is the angular.json file. It is also gives the whole project environment, what exactly it contains, Angular, our project. So this is the schema, then the project root. Okay, then my project type, then style, which style I am implementing, the output path, which files it is redirecting, like index file, it is going to index.html file. If you want to uh, give the another index file or like home.index file, you can change that home here as a home.index file. Means when you want to render the different file html file, you can render that particular file over there. Okay, it is not necessary to you have to have index.html file. You can change the name over here also. Agree?
Yes.
Like, okay. Then this assets folder, here also it is declare the styles, which you if you want to have a global styles, you can create that style sheet or declare any component global declaration of particular styles in this particular style.css. If you have the another file, you can mention that file name over here as well. Okay, you can do that. So Angular gives this kind of freedom to you. Okay, then these are the environments and rest of the details of your particular application. Okay,
Okay.
so these are the things about it. Hmm? So to this only this much, because these are the other components, it is not that much important, or it is we will not able to cover all these things because there are too much lengthy parts and you will get confused. So what I'll suggest you, that you create a new application. Whatever commands today I have fired, like engineer and create an application. Likewise, just मैंने अभी ये change किया था HTML file. So you also write some your HTML part, heading, any buttons, whatever you want to show, you can try to create that thing and try to run it. Okay,
Okay.
you can do that. And another, if you want to exit from this particular ng-serve, you just have to say control C and it will ask you if you want to terminate, say Y. Okay, this thing you can do. Okay, so till so this is the thing. So I have covered this basic because you will able to also understand and you can try out the things. Okay, so do you have any queries and doubts still so far? I mean, so if you have cleared right now, so you can easily go forward and you'll be do anything with this particular thing.
Okay, I'm fine with it actually.
You are fine with it? Okay.
Yes.
So do you have any suggestions for me? I mean, if I'm going too much fast or I'm going too much lengthy or explaining much more, or you want less explanation?
No,
Anything?
it's fine. I want more data to learn because if someone asks some question about something in an interview, I should be able to answer it.
Yes, right. That is the thing, because if this small thing, if you understood the things, you will able to answer the queries or answer the interview questions. That is the thing. And these are the basic things. So what in you must be aware of that interview questions, that they don't ask you that heavy theory question. They ask you only small things, and we are sometimes we don't know what are these things exactly or why it is using.
Yes.
Right. This is the thing. So okay, fine. So what you can do is try to create an application. Likewise, so today I did that. Fire a new command and then create an HTML page, or what if you want, and change the app.component.html file. You can write any HTML code, whatever you want. You can show a header, you can show a button, a small panel, whatever you are familiar with. I'm not expecting much more, heavy HTML file. You can write something and you can try to, run the file, what changes you are finding, you can try it out.
Okay.
Then in next session, we'll see how we can generate